Why might you want to have a look at your settings to help you win easier? And what is a good way of getting free fragments for that skin that you really wanted? Well, stick around and you'll find out soon enough. My name is Black Phoenix and I'm a YouTuber and Twitch streamer, and I stream games like Identity V. Now, Identity V has so many different mechanics, and I don't mean the character, I mean game mechanics. And there are so many that they don't teach you in the tutorial that sometimes it can feel overwhelming and it feels like you don't understand what just happened in the match, or why a certain ability affected you in the way that it did. And this can be very frustrating, especially for new players. So I have some tips that will improve your gameplay and improve your overall experience in Identity V. Let's begin. Playing with random people in a rank match or in a quick match can be very difficult. You don't know what persona web they have, you don't know what their intentions are, if they're going to try and kite or if they're going to try and rescue. This has helped a little bit with the in-game communication where you can shout that I'm going to rescue, but it's difficult to know what your team's plan is before the match actually begins. And this tip should help you understand who is doing what before the match even starts. Now, as a survivor and a hunter, you have a persona web. These abilities can help you improve your kiting, your rescuing, and all sorts of other things like detecting where a hunter is. But if all of your team members have the same ability like broken windows, nobody having tide turner, this can be a big problem. So it's very important to shout out which abilities you've got in the pre-game chat. Now, you may have seen that some people just put random numbers in the chat. Now, what does this mean? Well, this is a really fast way of communicating which main powerful abilities you're taking with your character. Now, imagine the persona web as a clock, 12 o'clock being at the top, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. Now, each of those times correspond to a different ability, 3 o'clock being borrowed time, 6 o'clock being tide turner, and 9 o'clock being broken windows. Oh, and 12 o'clock, I can never remember the name of the ability. If you put the number 39, that means that you're taking along borrowed time and broken windows, so you're a kiting build. If you put 36, then you're taking along borrowed time and tide turner, so you're trying to rescue. Talking about rescuing, let's talk about how we can rescue better. Apart from taking tide turner, as I said before, something you can do to improve your rescuing is to learn how to rescue better and how to avoid getting terror shocked. How do you do this? Well, you need to try your best to make sure that the hunter hits the chair and not you. This means you need to maybe trick the hunter and make it look like you're going to rescue and then sidestep. By making the hunter hit the chair, they go into a small stunt animation that will give you enough time to rescue the survivor on the chair. If necessary and you know that you can't play mind games with the hunter, then just take the hit and then rescue. After hitting you, they will be in their attack recovery animation, and this will give you time to rescue and possibly even create a little bit of distance between you and the hunter. It's better to be able to take the hit than to be terror shocked whilst rescuing. These techniques will have to vary depending on each hunter. Each hunter has different abilities that can help them camp better or stop you from rescuing, so be mindful of this. Okay, let's talk about something that's a little bit more advanced. Yet, I think it's something that newer players really should consider when they are choosing their character for their game. That will help them improve their win rates. You should definitely consider taking a survivor that doesn't feed the hunter's presence. Now, what do I mean by presence? Well, every time that a hunter hits you in-game, they unlock a new ability until their presence gauge is full and they have unlocked all of their abilities. By having more abilities, it will be much more difficult to rescue from them and to kite. So, some survivors are actually very bad at stopping the hunters getting their presence. For example, Perfumer. She may be very good at kiting, but she does absorb a lot of hits. Doctor as well can heal herself, so she can take a lot of hits. By the hunter getting more hits on a survivor, they're getting more abilities in the early game, and this can make it very bad for the rest of the team. Some survivors that are very good at stopping the hunter from getting presence in the early game and in the middle of a kite are characters like Magician and First Officer. Their abilities aren't to take hits but to avoid getting hit in the first place. This is why in some higher tiers and in competitive play, you may see characters like First Officer being played to stop the hunters from getting their powerful abilities too soon. This is definitely something that you should consider when you're picking a character to play in a rank match, for example. It is really worth you having a look at your game settings. You'll be surprised at what different options there are in there. Now, one setting that I found a game changer is this one. What does it do? It turns off the dark effect that happens on Moonlight River Park when you get hit by a hunter. I found that when I was playing on mobile especially, it was very difficult to see the map when I got hit because of the decay effect. So by turning this off, you should be able to see the map as normal, and you'll have a better chance of kiting and seeing people from a distance. Some other settings that you should have a look at least include turning off aim assist if you're a hunter. I find it very difficult to use aim assist. Changing different sensitivities for hunters and also survivors that have different abilities where you need to be more accurate with them. And turning on high FPS mode if your device supports it. This will help you get a little bit more FPS. That may be the difference between you noticing an ability happening and being able to react to it sooner. I only recently found out about this little tip. Adding your friends can be quite awkward and difficult and sometimes just a bit strange. Copying random numbers, then checking to see if you made a mistake or not, and then maybe you did make a mistake and then going back and correcting those numbers. There is actually an easier option that I did not know about. It's called face-to-face add. You can find it here. Now, what does face-to-face add mean? It doesn't necessarily need you to be face-to-face with someone. You just need to be in communication with someone, maybe via message. All you need to do is you choose 4 random numbers of your choice, you type them in, and then your friend also needs to put the same numbers that you put in into their face-to-face ad. And then they will have a list of names that pop up and they need to find your name. Much easier and much faster. Now I know about it, I'm definitely going to use it more often. A tip that the game doesn't tell you about, but it can be very frustrating to go against, and it's less of a tip and more of a piece of information that you don't know, is that falling cancels attack recovery. What do I mean by this? Well, usually when a hunter hits a survivor, they get an attack recovery animation, and that creates some time for the survivor who just got hit to make some distance between them and the hunter. This is all fair, but did you know that if the hunter is falling and they hit you, they don't have an attack recovery animation? This may seem like a bit of a specific situation, but this actually happens a lot. For example, Basement is a perfect example of where hunters will do this most often. They will go to the top of the stairs and they will drop down on you when you're going up the stairs, and they don't have to wait to attack again. They can attack you immediately. So they can get a double hit. And this can also happen on 2-story buildings, for example, Sacred Heart Hospital. Well, technically there are 3 floors. If you want to find out more about some secrets and maps in Identity V, then go and check out my last video on my channel. So when rescuing from Basement, be careful to play mind games with the hunter so that they can miss their attack when they fall, and you can escape easier. How do you get free fragments, you ask? Well, apart from getting daily rewards that the game gives you, there is actually an extra way that's a little bit less obvious to get free fragments. And that is by getting rid of your trial cards and also your ranked border unlocks. I personally don't use trial cards, and you can actually get rid of them by going up to one of your skins that you already have that is of the same tier as the trial card that you have, and then pressing the trial button and then the dismantle button. This can give you different fragments depending on how high a tier that trial card was. You can also get rid of those rank border unlocks by going to the ranked section of them and going here, and then pressing this button, and then pressing dismantle. This is a great way of you getting extra fragments for that skin that you really wanted or that accessory that you really need. The next tip is a little shorter, and most people already know this. But if you want to get extra essences, there are actually 2 ways of getting an extra 2 essences. If you play 3 ranked matches every day, the next day you get a rank match essence. Depending on your tier, this can give you a higher chance at getting a higher tier accessory. Also, during the weekends when 5v5 is available, if you play 3 matches of 5v5, the next day you will also get, guess what, a 5v5 rank essence. The higher rank you are in 5v5, the higher chance of you getting something that's a little bit more higher tier. Pallet throwing can be very difficult, especially for beginner players, but one way to not get hit by the hunter is to run through the pallet and turn to one side and hide to either the left side or the right side of the pallet. The hunter will reflexively try and attack you, they will hit thin air, then you can close the pallet. It's better to not close it immediately because most hunters will predict that you're going to throw the pallet down, so they will automatically attack to try and hit you as you're placing the pallet. Another little secret that you didn't know about the game is while the hunter is breaking the pallet, you can actually run through the breaking pallet past the hunter. This can be very useful if you need to get to a pallet that is actually behind the hunter. You'll never know if it might be useful or not. There are quite a few tips that I could give you about Hunter and Survivor interactions, but I don't want to make this video too long. If you would like to see a video about Hunter and Survivor interactions that you didn't know about, then please like and subscribe. Also, tell me if there are any other secrets that I missed about the game that you think that maybe beginner players or even veteran players might need to know about. Because we all want to get better at this game, and the more information we know, the better we get. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care. Bye bye.